He met the trainer and driver Andy, and his wife, Julie Miller, third to Muscle Hill in the elimination.
And second to the favorite in the New Jersey Sire Stakes final in June, appears to have benefited from a shoeing change and an aggressive drive from Andy Miller in the elim.
Federal Flex had a 5-race win streak snapped in the elimination. Jody Jamieson in the bike.
This Hambletonian elim marks the first loss of the season for this colt. I spoke to Jody earlier, and I asked him how his colt was doing. He said he's better this week, but that's about all he said.
And on the outside, number 10 is Judge Joe, driven by D.R. Ackerman, trained by his Hall of Fame father, 82-year-old Doug.
And the last time the Ackermans had a horse in the Hambletonian final, 2006, they also drew the 10-hole. That's what you call being behind the 8th ball. And even though they had post position 10 back in 2006, Chocolatier actually managed to finish second that year.
A field of 10 for this year's Hambletonian. Muscle Hill, the overwhelming favorite right now. Now for more, let's go out on the track to Donna.
Well, earlier I had a chance to talk to Jonas Ernestson about Hot Shot Blue Chip. This is a horse that you'll see has an awful lot of equipment on his head. He runs with pretty much blinkers to keep him from seeing anything except for what's right in front of him. He has a very strong bridle on. And Jonas said it's not that he's a bad actor. He said if I had to compare him to something the layman would understand, he's like a 10-year-old kid with attention deficit disorder. He said it just is really hard to keep him focused, and it's really easy for him to lose his focus. And when he loses his focus, he breaks stride, which obviously is not going to help him win any races, Ken, Gary.
And we take a look now at Muscle Hill, trying to duplicate what his sire Muscles Yankee did here in 1998. Win the Hambletonian.
Sorry, excuse me. Talk about duplicating the two seasons, 2007 Donato Hanover, 2008 Dewey Cheatham and Howe, both 2-year-old champions coming back to win the Hambletonian. So Muscle Hill looking to do that for the third consecutive year. And as a matter of fact, his career path is identical to that of Donato Hanover, who won this race in 2007 and went on to Trotter of the Year honors after losing their first career starts. Both colts won 8 of 9 at 2 and were undefeated in 4 starts heading into the Hambletonian final, and they prepped only at the Meadowlands for this race.
He has prepped. He has got muscles ready to flex once again, and Ken is standing by with the trainer.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, Greg Peck, trainer of Muscle Hill. Holiday Road won earlier today with the Peter Houghton, so you get to dream again for next year. But how did this horse do this week? How was his week, and how is he coming into the race?
He had a great week. He warmed up well. He's nice and calm. It's all up to the gods and Brian Sears, and let's just see what happens today. But I have a sense of confidence in him today.
Why did you choose the rail as your post position?
Because I felt that I do like the rail. For 2 reasons. One, I'd like to be inside the other elimination winners. And second of all, when you don't pick the rail, you're giving somebody else an added chance of getting the rail. So instead of them drawing 10, maybe they draw 1, and that's a big edge.
All right. Spoken well from a guy who teaches studies, and he is, of course, a great trainer as well in his track. Good luck to you, Greg Peck.
Thank you.
So we'll see if Peck's strategy pays off. If number 1 post position will keep Muscle Hill number 1, the huge favorite in the Hambletonian, we approach the race. A relentless drive to the wire. Park Avenue Joe. Probe. Here's the finish. Who pumps the call? The only dead heat in the history of the Hambletonian happened 20 years ago between Park Avenue Joe and Probe. And here it is commemorated in what is a collector's item, the 1990 program, showing that race. And even then, you're nose to nose, you cannot tell them apart. That was the dead heat, the only one. We almost had one earlier here in the Hambletonian Oaks that was won by about that much, so close that it was difficult to figure out exactly who was going to win. Even the winning driver told us that he got a little confused at the end, and that's how close it was for Brian Sears, who's already won the Oaks, and he's trying for the double now on Muscle Hill. Gary, back to Muscle Hill. Unlike those dead heats and those nose finishes that we've had, he is such an overwhelming choice Can you think of a Hambletonian where someone has been this big of a favorite?
Well, I know that Dewey Cheatham and Howe and Donato Hanover the last couple of years have been heavily favored. I might have to go back to 1999 for Meadowlands Hambletonians, where Self-Possessed was seen as a huge favorite that year. There were other talented colts in the field, but he basically stood above them, and he did, in fact, set the stakes and track record of 151-3 that particular year, 1999. Hambletonian victorious for Michael Chance and Ron Gerfine, both Hall of Famers.
Well, the only one that's getting any interest right now is Explosive Matter, who is the number 2 choice. And Explosive Matter with, as we take a look now at the rest of the horses out there, including number 9, Federal Flex. There's a horse, do you think about that last race as not being one to really dwell on because he was on such a hot streak prior to losing, yet he is 27-1, so some people are taking that to heart.
Well, first of all, the outside post position here makes it extremely difficult for him, and after seeing the Hambletonian elimination last week, his trainer Jeff Gillis says they thought that he tied up, and I know I mentioned that earlier. Think of a professional athlete, a lot of muscle exertion, and the muscles cramp up, and that is what probably happened to Federal Flex in his Hambo Elim last week, according to Jeff Gillis. Will he be better this week? Obviously, they hope so, but he's going to have to deal with post position number 9 against the Elim winners to his inside.
And on top of that, dealing with post position number 10, one of the real long shots here, 50-1, Judge Joe.
Judge Joe for the Ackermans, as we mentioned earlier on, left sharply in his Hambletonian elimination. He got the lead. Brian Sears was able to get Cal Chips Brute into the final because he said that D.R. Ackerman, driving Judge Joe, was kind of on a mission to get the lead, had the lead. Brian Sears was able to get a wonderful pylon trip, and when things started to fall apart last week for Federal Flex, Cal Chips Brute was one of the horses that was able to pick up the pieces. I mean, he's in a tough spot here. The Ackermans will tell you that he's got a wonderful disposition, does Judge Joe, but not the talent of Chocolatier, their Hambo entry in 2006.
Symphonic Hanover, the number 3 horse, David Miller drives at 20-1 currently.
1 of 2 in here for Jonas Zernison, and he is partly owned by Per Erickson, who won 3 Hambletonians here in America when he was training in the States with Practice, with Giant Victory, and also the following year with Alpha Lima. My guess is he gave some advice to his protege before the race today.
Muscle Hill will try to flex once again, the 1-5 favorite now to make it 13 in a row. With the call of the Hambletonian, let's go to Sam McKee.
It's the ultimate trophy to win, the ultimate goal of everyone in harness racing, America's Trotting Classic, the $1.5 million Hambletonian. Early strategy, pace, and position in the first turn can tell the tale between favorites Muscle Hill and his main danger, Explosive Manner. They're at the post for the Hambletonian, and here they come. And they're off, and there goes the Chancellor from the outside. Federal Flex caught just a bit wide early, and Muscle Hill protects that rail position, striding out to the top. Explosive Matter is right there racing in second and drops in behind him. Hotshot Blue Chip is off stride. Hotshot Blue Chip jumps it off in the opening turn. Symphonic Hanover lines up on the inside in third. Then it's 2 lengths to Triumphant Caviar. The Chancellor backs off his lead attempt. He's parked out on the outside. Cal Chips Brute is moving up 6th at the rail. Federal Flex stuck behind the Chancellor. The quarter is on the board at 27-1. Racing in 8th is Rainsman Hanover. Judge Joe backs off the gate. He's 9th on the back stretch, and a costly break by